This book tells the story of the life of David Clarke in the form of an autobiography. It is no ordinary book, in that David and his brother were both notorious criminals in the 60s, living in Aylesbury, Buckinghamshire. They were both sent to prison for carrying a firearm without a licence and malicious wounding. They spent time in Canterbury prison, after which David was sent to Dover Borstal and Michael, his older brother, to Maidstone prison. This story tells of David's sudden conversion from crime to Christ in 1970 and him educating himself by learning to read, as he was virtually illiterate. This was by reading the Bible and Christian literature. He tells of the events which led him to make a confession to the police about 24 undetected crimes he had committed since leaving Dover Borstal in 1968. An event which hit the headline news in Aylesbury Buckshall's newspaper on the 11th of February 1970, reading, "Why he confessed to 24 crimes and converted on LSD trip." David relates how he joined the Bierton Particular Baptist Church in 1976. This was because Bierton Church was the only one who maintained the doctrines of grace, as all the churches he visited in Aylesbury held to a sentimental view of the love of God and opposed the sovereignty of God in respect to creation, providence and salvation. The Bierton Church maintained the doctrines of grace, which he had come to receive as the gospel of Christ. He goes on to tell how he became the church's secretary and how he learned to deal with all the various issues that arose in the church. He then tells of him going on to higher education and graduating with a Cert Ed awarded by Birmingham University before going on to lecture in electronics at Luton College of Higher Education and Fareham College. He relates how the church became a gospel standard cause in 1981 and his call by the Lord and him being sent by the church to preach the gospel in 1982. Sadly, David relates the serious errors he discovered within the church, which eventually moved him to secede from the church over matters of conscience. These serious errors are fully discussed in his book, The Bierton Crisis, 1984. After a number of years and a series of serious life difficulties, which he briefly alludes to, David tells of the news he received from his brother Michael in 1994, who had been sent to prison in the Philippines, and 6 years later of him too turning his back on his criminal past to follow Christ. David relates his mission to the Philippines to bring assistance to his brother Michael and the evangelical work they engaged in, seeking to help hundreds of Asia's most notorious criminals. Sadly, Michael died in prison of tuberculosis after serving 10 years of his prison sentence.